Hi, brothers and sisters. This is a little add-on about Baal and how we've come to the complete, understanding of what that image was in Daniel 2. And I thought what I'd do is I'd explain it in terminology that is, again, allegorical in what I heard in the last meeting place that I attended and what they would say, and how my brain kind of clamped onto that. Now you know it's the Spirit that leads you and causes you to retain certain parts of information that is unique to your own personal growth. Of course, we all grow in different ways. But what I often heard in the last place that I attended was that the Old Testament was the outline and that the New Testament was what filled it in. And so your allegorical is the body with the spirit inside, which of course is male on male, a male inside of a male. Now what we've come to understand is that's simply the term, the abomination of desolation. That's what we've come to understand it means, or I have. I can't speak for anybody else. All I can do is speak for myself and tell you what I've understood, share with you what the Spirit has shown me. And in fact, the abomination of desolation is a man inside of a man. He's ruling himself. And we're going to read my comments that I pinned under the last video, how that image that you bow down to as a woman is actually Baal. And that's the image that they made for you. Because if, your outline is the Old Testament and the New is what fills it in, allegorical to the Spirit, you are looking at the abomination of desolation. And the reason is because a man is not supposed to rule his own body. It'll make the Spirit a desolate spirit. Where does it testify to that? And there goes either the fire truck or the ambulance going by. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what I wrote under the last video that I did pin, and I had planned on being done, and I still am done. I don't readily go in seeking for more information, but the Spirit does tend to want to put it in front of me, and then I allow the Spirit to lead me in the direction that I should go. And so it just hit me when I was sitting in a chair that I really need to explain how this is absolutely the abomination of desolation, a man inside of a man ruling himself. And how the Bible and any Christian out there who considers himself a real study in the Word, you're going to know these passages like the back of your hand. I knew them like the back of my hand. Because I went to churches from the time I can remember. I went to churches. I attended churches. Now, of course, in the end, we ended up at a different one, and that's where I really began to understand a lot of things that I didn't. And I think it was, of course, through the Spirit's leading that causes us to understand the things that we understand. So let's read it. All right, I'll put this down here, and hopefully I won't dismiss it or exit out. There we go. Okay, so this is what I wrote. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to read what to do with Baal. All right. So I recently just put this under this video, so you may not have read it yet. So in Romans 11:4 it says this, and what was God's answer to him? Romans 11, verse 4. So God's answer was, I have reserved for myself 7,000 who have not bowed the knee to Baal. So right off the bat, God is indicating that Baal is something that we ought to be looking at sharply. We ought to be looking into it. We ought to be studying it. How many of us has really studied what the image of Baal is pertaining to? Well, not very many of us. So Baal, Strong's Greek here, because it is in the Greek, is 896. And it's of a Hebrew origin, Baal. B-A, it's capital B, an apostrophe, and A-L. Baal, B-A-A-L, a Phoenician deity. Used as a symbol of what? Idolatry. We know images are symbols of idolatry. So we need to be understanding what this particular image is representing. So Baal, Strong's Hebrew, 1168. It's the same as small b-a apostrophe a-l. So we might want to look at that too. So capital Baal, a Phoenician deity. Baal, plural, Balaam. So we might want to go back in the Old Testament and we might want to be looking at Balaam again. So this is what I wrote. In order to trace our history of where we're going, we've got to go back and truly trace where we began. And that was with Balaam and Balak, remember? And the contamination of the woman's seed who was identified as the daughters of Israel. So Baal, which it says Baal, what does it say up here? Strong's Greek, Strong's Hebrew, 1168, the same as B, small b, A-A-L. So the big B and the little b are the same thing, is what they're saying. That's what they just said here. So, Baal, what's the little b-a? Apostrophe A-L, Strong's Hebrew, 1167. Owner, Lord, what does it say? Husband. Oh, wait, are you saying that that's the image? Okay. So what does God say? I have reserved for myself 7,000 who have not bowed the knee to husband. That's what it's translated as when you get looking at it and studying it. Okay. So Daniel 2:34, this is what it says. We're looking at another image. Is it possible we can connect them? Definitely. For anybody who has their eyes opened and their ears listening and their understanding. All right. So Daniel 2:34, thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands. Okay, so we got a stone which smote the image. We got an image upon his feet. So the stone smote the image upon his feet. So we need to understand what the stone is. We need to understand what the image is. This has to do with the end days. All right, this prophecy. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. So the stone is identified as the capstone in Zechariah 4:7. Who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel thou shalt become a plain. So the he-goat, or the satyr, which is another word for devils, that took control of the law, that are destroyed with the smashing of the image, which then becomes a plain. That's what this is saying here. And she shall bring forth the headstone thereof with shoutings, crying, grace, grace unto it. So what's the word for headstone here? Strong's Hebrew 7222, noun, feminine. I hope I didn't add too many twos. It means top, the top stone. So the stone in Daniel, cut out without hands, then becomes a great mountain in the earth. What's that? Zion. Daughter Zion is no longer captive to a religious lie of man as God. Therefore, hubby's religious lies and laws should hold no power over you. The liberty is ours to take, for we have been freed from the bondage of sin under the religious lies that allowed the laws of sin to yoke us. We're actually cleansed by mother's water, and we should be nourished by her milk so that we grow in understanding of what her law really was to look like. So a man inside of a man is the abomination of desolation. So the spirit becomes desolate, is what we're told. In Isaiah 54:1, what does it say? Sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud, thou that didst not travail a child. For more are the children of the desolate, what? Spirit, than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord. So who's the married wife here? Who's the married wife? Strong's Hebrew 1166, a primitive root, to be mastered, hence, as denominative from Baal, B-A-A-L, little b. To marry, have dominion over, be a husband. Well, I thought it was the married wife. I didn't think it was husband. It's saying husband, to be husband. Man, and the idea is man married himself. The abomination of desolation. The Old Testament is filled in with a man. That's the abomination of desolation. It makes her a desolate spirit. She has none that will hearken to the spirit of her covenant. Are we not understanding it? It's right there. The abomination of desolation is a man inside of a man because he rejected the wife of his youth's teaching. We're told that in Malachi 2. And chose to marry his own doctrine, a lie. So this is the question. Have you bowed your knee to the image of Baal? Esther 1:20. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is a great empire, all the wives shall give to their husbands, the word there is Baal, honor both to great and small. And then we have this little verse in Ephesians 5:23. For the husband is the head of the wife. Oh, is he? As Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. So here's the answer. Have you bowed your knee to the image of Baal? Yes, we have bowed to the image of Baal. You have. That is the abomination of desolation. A man inside of a man will lead to a desolate spirit, a desolate woman. She will have no children. She's too busy bowing to a male idol, to an idol, saying that's God. We got to hearken to the spirit of his covenant and whatever he tells us we're going to do. As the harlot in the earth who turned from our mother, she says, I'm not going to rule through you. Which then takes you to Hosea 2. Yeah, do I got it still up here? What does it say? I will remove the names of Baals from her lip. No longer will their names be invoked. You still don't think the image of Christ is the image of Baal. They used the image of Joshua. They transposed it, I think that's the word, into this same image that Nebuchadnezzar made up and said every woman will bow. Just as Christ is the head of the church. Husband is the head of woman. No, that was in Esther 2, where the king decreed that every woman would bow to Baal, husband. Still don't think you're bowing to the image of Baal through a religious lie? After everything that we have studied and proven in the Word as the truth. God says, my glory, my spirit, my daughters will be manifested in the earth. They become that stone that smashes the image on the feet of Baal. That's right. A male image built up as your Lord and your God. That's right. And then they continually put false signs in the heavens with their false sun. And we know it's a false sun because of what the Shulamite said. She says, look not upon me because I am black. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyard, but my own vineyard have I not kept. She hasn't kept her covenant. She's the desolate spirit. The children are said to belong to him. Father, 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 father. No, they're the mothers. And she is the creator. She gives life. That's the idea. And that stone cut out without hands, it smashes the toes on that false image. Yeah. That every consecutive kingdom after Nebuchadnezzar built up, gave it life to perform miracles and to breathe. Yeah, that's what they did. And you bowed to that image, but it's really Baal. That's the image you're bowing to. A man inside of a man. The Old Testament with the New Testament. So we know we've been lied to. The little book is sealed up in there. That's right. The burden of proof rests upon us daughters. That's right. That's the idea. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Just wanted to finish up. And I hope y'all have a really nice day.